The reality is, when it comes to hiring, it's high risk. And it's high risk because business people have what's called an affinity bias. I was born in the western suburbs. I love the Penrith Panthers. And if I meet somebody else who's wearing a Panthers jersey, automatically we're on the same team. I like this person. And 85% of businesses make your hiring decision in the first 15 minutes. And it's because of this affinity bias. We're born in the same town, we went to the same school, we follow the same football club. And within 15 minutes, they'll make a hiring decision. But think about this. Let's say somebody's going to be in your business for 10 years and you're going to pay them $100,000 a year. That's $1 million decision. And you make that decision in 15 minutes? It's crazy. The reality is that there was statistics done about when people buy a car. People buy a car, maybe $50,000, $60,000, but the decision-making process takes up to 6 months to buy a $50,000 or $60,000 car. Yet because of an affinity bias, a business takes all of their life's work and then makes the decision in 15 minutes to have a person on the team. It's outrageous. And when you think about it, it's nuts. What's even worse is that 5% of businesses make the hiring decision in the first 60 seconds. And they do it on things like intuition, bias, and preference. And that's where the big mistakes take place. So what the smart companies are doing is they're thinking through the process. And they think through, what are the behaviours that we need from this individual? Do we need somebody who's very results focused? Or do we need somebody who's relationship focused? But the problem is if you ask the candidate, are you results focused? They say, hey, yeah, I'm results focused. Because what they want is they want a job. They're not thinking about the science of job fit. So as we consider the science of job fit, we want to use statistically validated tools that have no bias. So we can measure people's behaviours. We can measure people's drivers. See, a lot of people think they're going to make money in sales, but they're not wired in their heart for money. See, one of the things that you want in a salesperson is you want somebody who's greedy. Now, people hear the word greed and go, Daniel, how dare you say greedy? Greedy is not a bad thing. Greed is good. See, we say you don't want to hire the needy, you want to hire the greedy. Think about a salesperson who has a long list of wants and needs. I want to live on the North Shore. I want to have a $3 million apartment. I want to drive a Bugatti. I want to travel first class. I want to have a Rolex. I want to wear Gucci shoes. I want to have a diamond ring, a Louis Vuitton handbag. They've got all these long wants and needs. And what happens is they're motivated. I want it, I want it, I want it, and I'm going to do the work. Where a needy person says, Athen, I need a job. My rent's due. I've got to send my kids to school. Now, yes, they do need a job. They do need money. But what's going to happen? As soon as they get the money to pay the rent, to pay the kids and put them in school, the motivation disappears. There's nothing that they want beyond that. And so as the business owner, you try to rev them up. You try to get them motivated. They're motivated for the minimum. You want somebody who's motivated for the maximum. And if you ask somebody, are you motivated? Everybody will answer, yes. Nobody's going to tell you they're lazy. They're going to tell you they're exceptional and they make sales. But we can actually measure it. And there's a very important motivator that determines sales success, and it's called an economic driver. And we did studies on hundreds of thousands of salespeople around the world, and 71% of the world's most successful salespeople have the exact same motivational force, which is an economic driver. They're all greedy, they're all selfish, and they all want more. And what happens is they work hard and they're disciplined to hit their targets. So we can measure that. And if somebody doesn't have that within them, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them. It just tells you the job in and of itself will not trigger intrinsic motivation. And if you can know this about people before they even step foot in the door, you can eliminate the hiring mistake immediately. The studies show that if you double somebody's income, the motivation will spike for 60 minutes and it will return back to its normal levels on the 61st minute. And every boss knows this. Employee comes in and says, boss, I need a pay rise. Boss says, well, what are you going to do for me? I'm not going to do anything extra. I just want more money. And the boss knows that money isn't the best motivator. Other people are motivated by learning. And so you might have to introduce incentives to learn in the role. And so by using statistically validated tools, you can see this. It's like an X-ray. It's like an MRI. It's like a blood test on what's happening inside of the person. So we stop listening like we say in NLP. Talk is cheap. The most important thing is action. But the problem is, if you hire the person, you've got to wait now 100 days to figure out if they can do it or not. Why not spend 10 to 15 minutes to measure it before they even walk in and save yourself the time, energy, and effort? I did this for a client the other week. We found a salesperson. He was a match to our benchmark. We interviewed another salesperson. They didn't meet the benchmark. So we said, this is not the right job for you. Go and work for somebody else. Candidate number one, you're a perfect fit. He's been in the job for 9 days and they've already made $30,000 because this one person in the first 9 days. So the speed to proficiency accelerates. He's already paid for himself. If he walked out next week, they'd lose nothing, but he's not going to go because he fits the job. And that's the goal. If you get the right person for the right job the first time, you eliminate the risk and the business gets into that performance curve. They go from forming, storming, norming to performing in a matter of days, not years. Days. Instead of taking 6 to 12 months, days.